Hi everyone, this is Koinzell here. So today we're going to talk about the Peculiar Wonderland Phase 2 because all the Phase 2 events are now available for the Windblume Festival or Invitation of Windblume event. These are the challenges, and you see that there's two related to Bubble and one for Windblume Blessing. So the two Bubble are the Bubble Crash and Bubble Speedster, which is the new event, or rather new challenge. As you can see here, it's much wider. There's actually 5 Bubbles in the lane this time round. So we'll talk about the challenge directly. I'll talk about the new challenge first, then I'll talk about the differences with the existing challenge and showcase a bit on how to clear them. Yeah. Okay, this is Barber Speedster. Barber Speedster's at the very start, you'll notice that it's on the left lane, not on the right lane, as opposed to the Barber Crash, and it's much wider. So what it means is that it will take longer for you to get all the crowns, and also longer for you to avoid the full stream of bubbles. So best example is here, where you have 4 bubbles in a row, you will need to do 2 dashes to dodge. But all in all, it's still very manageable, still very easy. I think I got this on my first perfect clear on the first clear if I'm not wrong. In fact, the hardest challenge in phase 2 is actually the Great Bubble Crash. I'll show you later. So bear in mind that after getting the crowns from here, you should always step back, just look at what are the bubbles before going forward. That way you will be able to avoid that very last wave of bubbles. And the good thing about the Bubble Speedster is that because there are no more crowns, there is a lot of points. There are a lot of points that can get from this. You see, from the crown itself, that's 95 points. You will have the bonus of 20 points when you don't get hit by any of the bubbles. So that's nice. Now I'll jump ahead to the next challenge. I'll talk about the ones that don't really have much difference from phase 2 first. From phase 1. Okay, so the one without basically much changes is the Windblume Blessing. The amount of time given is the same, the penalty and the points that you need to collect are all the same. The only difference is that there's a lot more red flowers now. So that's just the point to be careful about, and because of the challenge reward, just make sure you don't get hit by any of the, you don't touch any of the red flowers, and you'll be able to get the challenge reward easily, the Peculiar Conqueror rewards. So very straightforward for Windblume Blessing. I'm going to talk next about the next event that pretty much has no changes at all. And that is the memory game, which is the one-way traffic. There's really no differences to this in terms of the patterns. I have not encountered any particularly difficult patterns. All of these patterns, I've encountered them on the phase 1 as well. Time limit is pretty much the same as well. So there's really no changes from phase 1 for this particular challenge. It's just a matter of just clearing them, yeah? Or rather clearing it. Okay, now let's move on to the next one, Stepping Stone, which there is a increased difficulty this time. And it's quite interesting, so let's talk about that. Okay, Stepping Stone. So the reason why I say Stepping Stone is very interesting is because you see that there's a giant hole in the middle now. That giant hole means that there's a lot lesser space for you, there's much lesser space for you to move around. It's also going to be harder to get crowns because you are forced to move in a square border movement rather than across the entire space. So just make sure not to be greedy, don't overcommit on the crowns, get the crowns where you can. Just target 1 to 2 as usual. In fact, you can even go for 0 to 1. Just make sure that you don't fall, because the bonus points that you get from not falling is a lot more than crowns really. Put it this way, you need to get 10 plus crowns just to match the points from not falling. Ooh, we almost fell there. So you see that most of the times there are waves where I don't even get a crown. There are waves that I only get 1 crown. So it's fine, because the main purpose, the main target is not to fall. You get the most points from not falling. So yep, there you go. I got 45 points from the crowns and 60 points from not falling, or using my approach where we say we don't overcommit for crowns. Alright, so this is the Stepping Stone. I am pleased that they increased the difficulty and maintain the fun part about it. Now let's talk about next challenge. Next challenge is going to be the Barrage Minuet. So for this, right, previously in my previous video, I already mentioned that it's my personal favorite challenge. I find it the most fun. So remember to check out my previous guide so that you have a good idea on how to clear all of this in the best way possible. So for these, right, these are the hydro blocks. You'll see that they are fast and slightly wider. So they are kind of a hybrid of the previous two, the Pyro and Electro. You'll see that it's not a simple matter of just moving in one direction, in a circular direction. There are points where you should move backwards, because that's how the challenge is really designed. Especially the cryo blocks, they are much faster than your normal walking speed, so you will always have to jump back like this and then move again in the circular manner. So it's very easily managed. Of course, I would say it's much easier to get hit now compared to phase 1. It's definitely still very doable. Besides, there is no bonus reward for not getting hit at all. You just need to make sure that you don't get hit more than 4 times. That's it. So crowns, decent amount. The points of not getting hit less than 5 times is very nice. 80 points. Okay, now let's talk about the next challenge. Okay, the next challenge, which is also the last challenge, is the Great Bubble Crash. I have to say it's significantly more difficult this time round because of 2 added mechanics. First off, you see here that there's a moving bubble. The moving bubble itself isn't difficult to avoid, but the problem is that it's placed so near to the crowns that you will touch it, you will get hit by the bubble if you're trying to get all the crowns. You have to be at the very edge of the crown. And you see here that I have to use this evasion zone because there are bubbles. There are a row of 3 bubbles coming that fully fill the screen. Okay, so you have to make use of the evasion zone now. Okay, I'm not getting those because I'm focusing on clearing this without getting hit by bubble, because that's the peculiar Conqueror reward. We're gonna skip all those crowns. So even if I skip the crowns, right, do you still get a lot of points because you get 60 for the time limit, 20 for not getting hit, and then a small amount of points from crowns. Sorry. Now, if you want to get perfect, by all means go ahead. Although I don't think it's necessary. Perfect meaning all the crowns here. But just bear in mind that it's gonna make your life a lot more difficult, because the speed of the bubbles are so fast that you pretty much won't. It's a matter of luck, basically, whether the bubble spawns at where you are at the point of getting the last wave of crowns. I'm talking about the last wave of crowns here. So for me personally, I think I tried at least 10 times. 10 times I cleared everything perfectly up until here, and there's no way to avoid this bubble other than the luck portion. So maybe there's a better way to clearing. So if you guys know about it, feel free to let me know. But for me personally, this is the approach I'll go by. I'll go by not getting all the crowns and getting a perfect clear in terms of not getting hit by the mist bubbles, so that we were able to clear the Conqueror challenge. And you don't need to waste too much time on this challenge. Alright, so that is it for this video. Essentially, we have covered the new challenge as well as all the changes or no changes in some cases to the existing challenges. I hope you guys enjoyed the Windblume Festival so far. I'll see you guys next video. If you like the content, remember to like the video and click subscribe for more. Bye!